Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out Internet Computer's price chart, and I do see some interesting signs in the short term. But before that, we are going to talk about the concept of apps on demand versus softwares on demand. Because in this tweet, Dominic Williams mentioned something very interesting, and he says ICP plus Caffeine AI is actually in the latter group. Now, in case you are wondering, aren't these two basically the same concept? Well, the answer is maybe not quite, and we are going to break it down in today's video because this, in my view, is ICP's huge real advantage. So, when we are talking about apps on demand, it is basically what we have been doing for years. For example, you go to some cloud platform, maybe AWS, and you spin up a pre-built app. Maybe it's going to be like a CRM, maybe it's a blog. You tweak a few settings, maybe even change some themes, and boom, you got something running. But here is the situation. You are still working with someone else's code. You are deploying containers, managing virtual machines, setting up CI/CD pipelines, and it is fast, absolutely fair enough, but it's not exactly flexible. You are still customizing in this scenario, not necessarily creating. Now, when it comes to software on demand, okay, that is like a whole different story. You see, in this case, instead of picking from a menu of apps, you just tell an artificial intelligence. And in case of ICP, we are talking about Caffeine AI. You tell it what you want. For example, like build me a tool that tracks my crypto portfolio and sends alerts when prices are dropping. And AI just writes the code for you. Full stack, backend, front end, logic, UI, basically it does all of it with no templates, no boilerplates, just fresh code generated on the fly. And here's a kicker. It actually gets deployed. I'm not going to say like instantly, but let's just say this. It actually gets deployed almost instantly. No cloud setups, no DevOps, no more waiting around for builds to finish. Just simply done in like very short amount of time. Now, question, what makes all this possible? And there are two things. Number one, ICP. Number two, Caffeine AI. So let's start with ICP. And I'm going to say this for those of you who are a new viewer of the channel. Those of you who are regular viewers, you probably know much better than me what ICP actually is. We are talking about a blockchain that acts like a global computer. You write smart contracts, in this case called canisters, and they run directly on chain. No need for external servers, no downtime, no patching. It's very much fast. It's absolutely deterministic, and everything is stored and executed on chain. Then there is Caffeine AI, which is built on ICP, and it's kind of sort of wild because you give it a prompt, let's say in plain English, maybe even your own native language, doesn't really matter, and it just spits out a full stack application, not just a mockup, no, an actual working code. And because it is running on ICP, the whole thing is deployed almost instantly. It is absolutely on chain with no middleman. So when Dominic Williams says ICP plus Caffeine is software on demand, he's not actually hyping. No, he is, in my view, pointing a future where you don't really need to be a developer to build software. You just need to know what you want, and you say it very clearly, and hopefully Caffeine AI builds the app for you. And now that we have talked about the differences between apps on demand and software on demand, I think it is time to answer a very important question. Why should anybody actually care about this? You see, there are, in my view, four very important reasons. Number one is speed. You see, with traditional apps, even if you are using cloud tools, you are still looking at hours, possibly days, even potentially, God forbid, weeks of setup. When it comes to apps on demand, you've got to configure stuff, deploy containers, maybe even wait for approvals. Now with software on demand, on the other hand, well, okay, it actually comes down to seconds. You are typing a prompt, the AI generates the code, and boom, all of a sudden it is live. No CI/CD, no waiting, just almost instant execution. Reason number two for why we should all care about this is accessibility. And this one is very, very important and huge. You don't need to be a developer anymore in this scenario. If you got a browser and a decent idea, you basically can build software, and ICP plus Caffeine AI seems like that it has the ability to basically turn anyone into a creator. No need to learn Python, no need to learn GitHub, Docker, none of that. Just simple plain English. Reason number three is trust. And because everything here runs completely on chain, you get built-in transparency. Nobody, and I really mean that, nobody can secretly change your code, nobody can censor your app, and you don't have to trust some cloud providers to keep your data safe. It is all baked into the protocol, which is fantastic. And the final reason, you know it, I am all about the cost and especially cost efficiency. Instead of renting massive cloud servers that sit basically idle for half of the time, with software on demand, with the help of ICP and Caffeine AI, you pay for exactly what you use. No over provisioning, no surprise bills, just clean, efficient compute. Now let's zoom out real quick and talk about big picture stuff, because this isn't about only faster applications. No, it is also about changing how software gets made in here. Business wise, we are moving from buying license to generating tools on the fly. Need a dashboard, for example? Don't buy one, build it in literally 30 seconds. For developers, it's also a massive shift too. Instead of writing every line of code, in here you are guiding artificial intelligence, auditing output, and focusing on architecture. And also ecosystem wise, it means more tools, more experiments, more niche apps without waiting for big companies to build them, which is awesome. And this will, in my view, cause a huge boost in productivity. Now, after all what we just talked about, let's not pretend that it is all sunshine and instant apps. No, there are absolutely some real challenges ahead, and in the interest of being objective, we are going to talk about some of those right now. Number one, quality assurance. Just because an AI can write code doesn't necessarily mean it's actually good code. We still, in my opinion, need ways to test, audit, and make sure that what gets deployed is fully secure, fast, and doesn't really break after 2 clicks. This means better tooling, smarter validators, and maybe even human in the loop systems to keep things tight. And I know Caffeine AI, based on the experience that we have seen so far, seems like that it's actually working flawlessly, but let's just not be overwhelmingly optimistic, because I do believe that by the initial launch, we are going to have some bugs here and there, but you need to pay full attention to the general trend and the big picture, which seems like it is extremely bullish and we are fully on the right track. Problem number two is governance. You see, decentralization is awesome and all that, but sometimes here and there, it can get a bit messy. Who decides what is safe to run? How do we handle bugs, abuse, or shady behavior? We will need, in my opinion, governance models that balances freedom with responsibility. Think, for example, open standards, maybe community audits, and maybe even reputation systems for prompt engineers. Now, problem number three is economic incentives. And I'm not actually worried about this issue as much, and I'm going to tell you in a bit why, but we really cannot ignore the fact that running AI on chain is simply not free. We will need smart tokenomics to make this sustainable, like for example, micropayments for compute, staking for quality, and maybe even tipping systems for useful prompts. The infrastructure is there, but the economics still need to evolve. And why did I say I'm not really worried as much? Because I think it was almost like 8 or maybe 9 videos back where we talked about a very important tweet from Dominic Williams that said the business model is basically going to be freemium, like meaning you can use Caffeine AI for free a little bit, but then if you liked what you saw, okay, you can actually pay a price and then have access to more of Caffeine's capability And well, okay, based on that, I'm going to argue that the business model is absolutely there and it will make perfect sense. So, I'm not really worried as much. Now, looking ahead, here is the exciting part. The shift from apps on demand to software on demand isn't just a tech upgrade. No, it's actually a full redefinition of who gets to build software. And this is a very, very important point to understand. You don't really need to know Python. You don't really need to have an understanding of Docker. You don't really need to learn maybe React or maybe Django. None of that. You just need to know what you want and say it very clearly. And hopefully ICP plus Caffeine AI is able to turn that idea into live code almost instantly and fully on-chain. We are talking about a future where number one, every business can spin up custom tools without even needing to hire a developer team. Number two, we are talking about a future where every single creator can build without touching a single IDE. And number three, we are talking about a future where every single user is able to shape their digital world with just a few words. So, as final thoughts, this is, in my view, where internet computer comes in clutch. It's not just another blockchain. It's very important to understand that. Internet computer is a full stack platform that can actually run this kind of AI native software models, and it is extremely fast, very much secure, decentralized, and built for real-time execution. And if this software on demand model catches on, and honestly, it's really, really hard to see why it wouldn't actually catch on, ICP could be the go-to infrastructure for the next wave of mass adoption. Not just from crypto people, no, but from businesses, creators, educators, and everyday users who just want to build stuff. So yeah, we are, in my view, based on the fundamentals and also based on what we are seeing on the live chart, still way too early, but maybe we don't really have to wait that long, and our patience, in my view, in the midterm will be rewarded big time. Now, after all that, I think we can all agree that we do have the perfect fundamental setup. What about what is happening in terms of classic technical analysis, maybe Helios waves, maybe even classic trends in the short, mid, and also long term? Let's go on the live chart and see what is going on. Okay, here we are. And if you remember the last time that we talked about ICP, I think we were right around here, and the idea was that we really do want to see a continuation of this move up, followed by that, ideally we want to see a consolidation, followed by yet another move on the upside. Why? Because in terms of Helios waves, if you want to say that we have hit our final low around this area, maybe, I don't know, let's say like this is a very important support, then okay, show me off of the lowest low, a 1 2 3 4 5, in order for me to sort of kind of flip bullish. This specific example is called an impulse. Rules for it are, we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of 5 wave, wave 3 shouldn't be the smallest wave. This is a big no-no in Helios waves. And in terms of the sub waves, you probably know what I'm about to say in case that you are a regular viewer of the channel. 5 wave up into wave 1, 3, and 5, okay? And for wave 2 and 4, we can have different scenarios. Let's say, sure, ABC into 4 and a WXY into wave 2 doesn't really matter a whole lot. Let's go on the live charts, maybe on some lower time frames, let's say 15 minutes. Okay, so here's the situation. I am able to find a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave in here, followed by, I'm gonna say probably a WXY or maybe an ABC, doesn't really matter. And when we were, excuse me, around here, I said I need to see this move continue a little bit more in order for me to be able to say, you know what, this might be a rather strong move on the upside, which I'm really hoping that it's going to be into wave 3. And followed by that, this is why I said I need to see a consolidation pattern, because after our wave 3 is over, what are we going to have? A correction, hopefully into this wave 4, and then another move up into wave 5. This was the general idea in the previous video, and I'm going to argue so far seems like that we are absolutely following that scenario. Question is, what is happening in like very short term right around this area? And here is why I am actually quite optimistic in here. You see, in my view, there's actually a good chance that we are having a correction structure. Why? Because if you want to say, okay, I'm actually wrong and we are having an impulsive movement on the downside, then okay, show me a 1 2 3 4 5, and I'm going to say it right away. Odds are you're not really able to find one. Why? Because I think in this initial phase, we are having an A, B, C zigzag, which sort of kind of got confirmed when we got this decent move up, and this was actually quite a deep and a strong move, and in it we clearly have overlapping of the waves with this move up into our B leg. So what is it that I'm trying to say? I'm trying to actually tell you that we are having an ABC flat which looks like this. This is our initial move down into A, correction for wave B, and another move down into our C leg. And for wave C, we are either going to take the low of our A leg, or maybe we're just going to finish our C leg before we take the lows by like a very, very small margin. Nonetheless, the sub waves are going to be in all the scenarios of having an ABC flat, basically the same. ABC down into A, ABC, or maybe WXY. In my view, it doesn't really matter a whole lot into wave B, and like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down into C. Let's go on the live chart and see what is happening. So this is clearly ABC down, no problem at all. Followed by that, in my view, we are probably having, I'm gonna say, yep, maybe like an A, B, C to about this high, and this can actually be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave on the downside. Of course, I can actually show you some other count. Maybe this is going to be like a wave 1 followed by a correction for wave 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down to about the lowest slowdown here into wave 3, correction for 4, another move down. This is also a possible count, but the point that I'm trying to make is basically the same in both of these scenarios. I'm hoping that this move on the downside in ICP is going to be a correction in form of an ABC flat, meaning what? This is soon going to come to an end, and we need to see yet another strong move up. Okay, it's very, very important to understand. As long as we are not seeing this strong move, in order to at least take the highs in here for the first target, about let's say $5.7, and go much, much higher than that, I think it's a little bit too soon to be completely optimistic and call this point about, let's say, $4.8, our final low, with a lot of confidence. Like, do not get me wrong, at the moment, in like very short term, we are absolutely following the bullish track, but you know what, just wait a little bit more for some more confirmations, and at that point, I think we can safely assume that exciting times in the midterm are going to be ahead of us. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Internet Computers chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent DA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Goodbye.